Hello, this is David Dean, and we are doing a third video on my trap series. The number one question I've been getting on my trap videos is why I level up certain traps and use them, what perks I like having on them, and what do certain things mean, like the durability and how to improve that. So I'm just going to do a walkthrough here, and you can kind of tell by the what I have and haven't leveled up how much I like the traps. Right now I'm actually holding on to my schematic XP until the next event comes out, so whatever comes out I can level it up right away to do a video on. And for some people that's going to be surprising that I have the ceiling drop trap, which most people just call the tire trap, leveled up this high. And in truth, I would not have it hardly leveled up at all, except I was soloing Storm Shield defense missions, and a lot of those had ramps that were 2 or 3 ramps high. And that is the issue with the tire trap. It is really kind of a nuisance, worthless trap in most places, or definitely not one of the best ones, where you're building ceilings over flat floors 1 tile high. But where the tire trap works really well is over a ramp or any place that mobs have to walk up, because it drops the tires, doing some impact damage to the husk, and it's kind of a low impact, but it's still pretty good. And then it's kind of messing with them walking up as a nuisance and slowing them down. And then usually at the top of the ramps I have launchers sending them back to the bottom, and then they have to come up again, and the trap tires in that situation work really good. And plus you can't put any other traps there because you're placing traps 2 to 3 tiles high. And another thing is, in Twine Peaks, if you do the Storm Shield defense there will be lava balls flying through the sky and hitting the ground. But they do not do any damage to tiles 3 tiles high. So if you have a ceiling 3 tiles high over a drop point for the lava balls do no damage to them. And therefore you could put in a trap in an area you normally couldn't in Twine Peak Storm Shield defense. And the same thing is true about propane tanks. Propane will blow up everything around them, but if you have traps 3 tiles high, they're unaffected by the propane tanks going off. So it's a special circumstance trap which can be useful. As for perks on it, it's good to have the crit chance and crit damage, which is usually the things I want most on my traps. But since I'm using it more as a nuisance trap, the max durability is really important, because as I said, I use launchers to constantly send the mobs back, so they're going over that area again and again. And I would actually like faster reload speed on these, just so they could keep firing off more and more times, slowing down the husk more and more. But like I said, on the tire trap, it is a nuisance trap for special situations. So it's just up to you whether you want to be leveling those up or not. And just really quick on this, on the durability, this one has 2 perks to the durability, so it does a little more. Like I said, it has low impact, but it does do some impact. And that also helps because, like a smasher coming up those ramps, the smasher has basically an impact counter. So when it gets up to the launchers and the launcher hits it, if the launcher doesn't do enough impact damage to take that impact timer down to 0, the launcher has no effect on the smasher and he just keeps walking. But the tire traps take down that impact. So hopefully when the smasher gets up to the launcher and the launcher goes off, their impact resistance is low enough that they end up going flying back down to the bottom of the hill. And then, like I said, it has low damage, and so it really doesn't matter too much on that. That's not why you're really going to be using these things. And now I tend to not use them as much because they use up both mechanical parts and twine, which I kind of run out, and I would rather use on other traps that do a lot more damage. And when you're talking a lot more damage, I think this is the top damage dealer of them all, the Ceiling Zapper. This is great if you're going to be taking out Husky Husk propane tanks and smashers. This is what you're going to need to help take them out. And on this one, you really do want higher crit chance, higher crit damage. Unfortunately, I didn't have that. Max durability. The way I play with launchers a lot of times, I want these traps to last as long as possible. So having those perks on it, I really like, and reload speed doesn't hurt. But in truth, I'd like to see more crit damage on this, mainly since with the 2 critical chance increases, it's at 47%. So almost every other hit is a crit hit, taking it up to 3,000 damage. It also does impact with a very little stun time. So once again, I love impact. I love doing that to basically do more control over them in order for launchers to be able to launch them out of the trap tunnels or further back in them, just so they keep getting hit by the same traps again and again and again. So always looking for that. And that was one where mechanical parts, where I started doing tire traps, and then I found myself running out of mechanical parts for my traps and also for my weapons. And then we move on. Actually, I'm going to stay with ceiling traps. We're going to go to gas trap here. This one I really like, and the numbers are a little bit confusing on it. But on this one, I want also a high crit chance, and I got 3 increased crit chances, reload speed, and max durability. This is all great. So definitely good perks. Once again, max crit damage would also be great on this one. But my crit chance is 68%. So that is just great. It is almost always critting, but when you look at the damage, it looks like a really low damage. But this thing creates an AoE cloud that will affect enemies with affliction damage over time. And it seems to do the same affliction time period as weapons affliction damage, which we hop over to one of those. Causes affliction damage for 6 seconds. So if it's doing the same as for 6 seconds, it is doing that 212 6 times, so you get up to 1,200 damage. One thing about the ceiling gas traps, and I've gone back and forth with some people about this, and I've changed up the way I do them. I actually really like them a lot, mainly with my high crit chance, so I put one after the other. The problem is, it doesn't seem to be that the gas traps affliction stacks. So basically, once you have the affliction on that, for 6 seconds you can't put a second affliction damage on it. And so now I usually space out my ceiling traps where I'll do a gas trap, I'll do 1 or 2 other ones, and then I'll do the gas trap again, just giving that DOT time to wear off before I hit it with the second one. And let's see, and on this one I have been running out a lot, unfortunately, on herbs. The herbs are one of those things most people just drop because they have tons of them and way too much and they don't need them. Me, I am constantly running out of them because I like my gas traps, and also I use them for my healing pads. And I actually would like to level this one up, but it uses mineral powder, and several of my other level 130 traps use mineral powder, use the 5-star mineral powder. and I just run out of materials since there's no 5-star zone yet to get that much. So I split up my traps so that half of them use the 5-star materials and half of them use the 4-star materials. The day they come out with a 5-star zone after Twine Peaks, everything's getting leveled up. And also, this one uses bacon. Unfortunately, I'm also always running out of bacon. Once again, it's used on this trap and it's used on the heel, and the heel has 5 of them. So, but for ceiling traps, we got those 2, or actually 3, and then the 4th one. This one I have not leveled up too much. If you watch my trapping video number 2, I went in and explained just the fact that the way I do my trap tunnels, it's not the most efficient thing. First of all, I like putting up as many walls as possible with the launchers on them to keep knocking things back. But this thing covers a 1-tile square area as long as there's no walls to interfere with that area. I put up all my walls with wall launchers on it, and I greatly decrease the effectiveness of this. It would be a good one, and I recommend anybody to always put this one on the very first tile outside of your trap tunnel. Just that way, everything coming into your trap tunnel is getting a good little zap before they even get in there. And it is a great one for taking out those dwarf husks early on, so they don't get back in your trap tunnel too far, causing all the durability to be used up on your other traps. It is definitely a good trap when used correctly and if it works with your build style. And then getting into it, on mine, it actually has kind of the perks I would want on it. It would be good to get rid of one of the crit damages and have a crit chance on it. But I would want reload speed. This thing just going off, to just keep killing those dwarf husks as fast as possible. And then on this one, this has no impact whatsoever, and that's another reason I don't like it. I really love to have impact on every single trap I possibly can, just to wear down the smashers. And then this one, crit hit. Wait, crit damage. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I got really good crit hit damage, but it doesn't really do me much good if my crit hit chance is 5%. So that is also another reason why I've kind of waited on this one to level it up. It would be nice if I had some more crit chance on it. And then it has a fast reload time of only 4 seconds. You'll see a lot of the other traps have like 12 seconds. And it does minor damage. You're not going to be using this to take out smashers or husky husks, but you can definitely take out the little guys pretty fast with it. And let's see, that's it for the ceiling traps. And then we're going to move on to the floor traps. I love my freeze traps on this. One thing, they do run out on durability fast, so max durability is the great on it. And then reload speed is nice. But these kind of counter each other. Because the reload speed is so fast, I end up using up its durability pretty fast. And what I'd really prefer in here is stun time or impact, just so it could stop the bigger husk more reliable. But it freezes enemies in place for a short time and makes them more vulnerable to damage. I've seen a few different videos out there where they say it's a 25 decrease in resistance. So I like using these with like 3 dynamos around it, a zapper above it, and it will just, the second husky husk gets frozen, all those other damage traps are doing 25% more damage, and they are just taking them down in a heartbeat. It has a really strong impact, which is a great thing to have. Durability, though, even with my durability increases, it's only at 29 on this one. And well, that's about it. Reload time is okay. Crafting, it does use the crystals, which if you're not using energy-based weapons, you probably have extra crystals. If you use a lot of energy-based weapons, you're going to be hurting to have enough crystals. So that does make it a little bit tougher on this trap. And this is one where I'm using the 5-star mineral powder. And one of the reasons I haven't leveled up other traps. But it is a really good trap. The only issue is the durability on it. And then we go to the opposite right here with the wooden floor spikes. The floor spikes does damage and slows all enemies. I love that slowing fact, because the slower they go, the more all the other traps are laying on massive damage. On this one, I have 2 trap damage perks. Probably not the best perks, and I got this one early on. I'm hoping they'll come out with perks that increase the slow effect on it, which would be great to have. The durability on these, though, they last basically as long as you need them to. 270. So I can't see in a normal mission that ever happening. Even on my soloing Storm Shield defenses, only in the very, very last one, Storm Shield Defense 9 and 10, where I had waves coming for 10 minutes long, or waves of 1,000 husks coming in, did I ever see one of these get used up. And then crit chance and hit damage, they're doing extremely little damage, so I really don't care about the crit chance or the crit damage on it. Any extra damage is nice, but that is not the main thing this trap is doing. And reload time is 2 seconds, so pretty much everything that walks on it is going to end up being affected by it. And then moving on to the floor launcher. Floor launcher is another one I'd really like to level up. Just have to wait until they got a level 5 zone. And this one, I actually had one of the early on floor launchers where they're giving crit damage and crit to hit. That has no impact on this trap. Those are worthless perks. And then I got this one, which just had the perks I wanted. Max durability, so it lasts a really long time. I got 3 of those. And then an increase to impact and knockback. So these things will send those smashers a-flying. And I got 2 increases to that. And those are the 2 perks I want on this. Impact, 12,000. So, this is going to pretty much be launching anything there is. And this is still at level 106. Impact will continue to go up as I take it up to level 130. Durability is just 33, even with all those perks on it. And then really strong knockback. It says crit hit chance here, but that doesn't have a factor in this at all. Arming delay, reload 8 seconds, so it's going to go off at a pretty good rate. But yeah, definitely these are the perks you want to have on this. The trap itself has low durability, so having 3 max durabilities helps out a lot. And then we move on. This is a trap, retractable floor spikes. This is kind of your high damage floor trap with low impact. It is a good, steady, average trap to have. And if all you're worried about is putting out damage, definitely the one you're going to want to be using. And this is the one you want to have high crit chance and high crit damage on. I also have durability and speed, which doesn't hurt. Nice thing to have. But this is a damage-focused trap, so you really want to have your perks focused on damage. It can do impact. Definitely not as high, like the freeze trap is at 7,000. This one has 1,000 and some. A little bit of knockback, and basically it just kind of irritates the mobs, but you're doing 678 damage, but I have a 59% crit chance on this, so it's doing double that. So this is a great damage trap. It does do a little bit of impact, and it's definitely worth having in your inventory. And then for floor, that is pretty well it for floor. I do have, I guess I might as well talk it while I'm there, is the healing pad. This was another one. At first it was giving stats like increased crit chance and stuff like that, which I was glad to finally get rid of that, and Epic finally putting on perks that helped it. This one has some great healing amount, but geez, when I run my contractor over it, or constructor over it, it's hardly doing much heal at all. Quick reload speed is good because when you're healed, you're usually going to need it more than one time. Durability is nice. It does eat up my bacon for resources, meaning I got less for the gas traps, and it eats up a ton of herbs. Once again, hurting how much I have for my gas traps. And durability is only 9 times you can use this. And I'm really getting to the point where I just want to stop using the healing pads altogether and switch over to the new one that's out, and that is the Cozy Campfire. And I'm waiting to get a legendary on this one. Once again, I got perks on there of healing amount, which is great, and max durability on this thing is great, and it heals a 3x3 grid. And since I use defenders a lot of times, that is another great thing about this one. And so when I need a heal, usually I'm under half health. I need a lot of healing done. And since I like fighting from a distance, I can drop the Cozy Campfire, I can get out my sniper rifle, and I can just sit there and take out husks. While this one does a long-term heal for 54 clicks. The thing is, it's a one-use item. You use it and then get out. But I kind of like that better than the healing pads right now. Like I said, I'm looking forward to getting this thing legendary, or getting a legendary one of these. And then once I do that, I'm going to level it all the way up and test it out some more. Alright, and that brings us to wall ones. My favorite trap in the whole game, if you ever watched any of my videos, is the wall launcher. And for me, this is about control. This is about knocking Husk off cliffs, or sending them into lava, or launching them into a trap area. And this is just basically moving the Husk wherever you want them to be and having them stay the heck away from your base. And for here, the main thing is impact and knockback. And then for me, next biggest thing would be reload speed and max durability. And I got some great stats on this one, and that's why I leveled it up so fast. And yeah, just by having a really strong launcher, you can just do so much more in this game as far as manipulating the Husk around to take them out, instead of just doing straight damage. This one has an impact of almost 17,000. So, no, I think this is twice as high as the highest trap I've shown you so far for impact. Knockback is 1,800. The Husk I hit with this thing just go flying. 3 or 4 tiles back. And a lot of times I do it over a cliff area, so they just keep on flying even further. And this is just, whether this is going to be your favorite trap or a different wall trap that's maxed in damage, is just your play style. I actually have 2 leveled up. This one has the huge impact bonuses to it. This one has impact also, but it also has 2 max durability. So, and this is the one I initially had, and then this is the one I got later on with the higher knockback. So basically, I will put a bunch of these level 106 ones at the beginning of my trap tunnels, just so they don't run out as fast. And then later on in my trap tunnel, there's probably nothing getting back there except for smashers and a few husky husks. So I'm not worried about the durability, as I'm worried about the maximum impact. So I can switch these off and on. And the other good thing is, is for materials. You can get tons of planks, you can get tons of rough ore. What you run out of is the mineral powder, and mainly doing 5-star, because you only get that in certain zones in Twine Peaks, or certain missions depending on how high of level they are. And if I run out of the powder, I'm still good, because then I just switch to my other launchers and I got the Char Black 4-star mineral power, which I can always get more of. So, and that is the only trap that I have 2 high levels of, just because of how much I use it and how critical I think it is in my style of gameplay. And then moving on for a wall, we got the wall darts, and it is really good to understand the difference between these 2 wall damage doing traps. With the wall darts, they shoot across 3 open tiles, and you can even put a 1-layer half wall in front of it with dynamos on them, and the wall darts will shoot over the half wall. So it can be very good in situations where you got a more open area. A lot of times on the outside of my trap tunnel, wherever the spawn point is, I'll put wall darts out there just to start doing damage the second the spawn hits. I got some really good here. Double crit chance damage, the trap damage, and decent reload speed. And damage isn't all that great, but you're doing that damage over 3 tiles. So if you got an area you can put this down where it can shoot over those 3 tiles, it's definitely the one you want to be using. On mine, I got it up to over 50% crit chance, but still, crit hit damage isn't even 100%. It doesn't double it. It's only up to 600. But it does have a higher durability than most of them, which is a really important factor I'm going to bring up at the end of this. And then comparing that, and I definitely want to do these back to back, is your little bitty dynamo. The dynamo only affects 1 area, but the good thing about it is you can put it on those smaller half walls, which once again is a great thing to do for having the wall darts at the tile after that one, so it can shoot over these. And my trap tunnel number 2 video really gets into that. But this one, double crit chance perks, which is great. Durability is great. Reload speed is great. There isn't really too many bad perks to have on one of these things. But you definitely, to me, it's 50-50, because it does have impact, and a decent impact at that. 5,000, where it'll just stun something for a half a second, which doesn't seem like much. But anytime you can slow down a smasher, or you can stun a exploder husk with the propane tanks and stop them from using that propane tank, it is a huge factor in a trap tunnel. So it's great to have that on it, where the wall darts don't have anything. They have a high durability. Like my crit chance on this is 59%. It's doing 1,300 damage, as opposed to the wall dart 600 when it crits. And then, well, that's basically it. So it's just a really good functional one, being able to put on half walls, and it's doing high damage, high impact, and having a big effect on the traps. And then for wall, we also had somebody asking me about what the perks I want on wall spikes. I have not used these since Stonewood, because, well, first we'll go through it like normal. This one has crit chance, double crit damage, max durability. It has a super high durability, just like the floor spikes. This one isn't leveled up, but they hardly do any damage at all. Their base crit chance is 5%. And what they're really doing does damage to enemy when the enemy hits the wall the trap is on. But I don't want enemies hitting my trap, and I don't want to use traps that are based on enemies hitting my walls. I want to kill the husk. I want to send the husk flying with wall launchers. So right now, the way they are, I just never use them. To me, it's a pretty worthless trap. If you happen to pick one up and find a place where it's good to throw it on, go for it. But to me, it's always better to put a dynamo if it's a half wall. And if it's a full wall that can reach 3 tiles, throw a wall dart on it. The other wall trap, I used these a lot in the beginning, is wall lights. And these and this now, they didn't have this in the beginning, the stun time perks, but now they have those, which actually makes it a little bit more usable. But it just, when mobs come in, it just stuns them. No damage, that's it. And it's going to stun them for 2.5 seconds, which is a decent time to stun them. You're not going to do any damage, but you're also, to me, this is another one where if you're just got in the game and this is your only decent trap you have, great. But in higher levels where you got other traps to use, if you want to stun something or send it back flying, use the wall launcher. And if you want to just stun something, use the freeze trap. Freeze them, then everything's taking 25% more damage, and then have on the walls the dynamos or the wall darts. Huge difference. So right now, the wall lights, I just don't see a place to use them that I cannot find another trap that does the job better than they do. And that is going through the traps. One thing I really want to get into is doing your storm shield defenses really quick. When I would do my storm shield defenses, it's weird because when you run them, some of your traps after you're finished will reset to their initial value. So, and one of them that would do it would be the wall darts. So if my wall darts made it through the storm shield defense without getting totally used up, I could run over and pan over it and see it has 3 charges left. But if I logged out of the storm shield defense and then logged back in, it would reset to 45 almost every single time. There was a few times, very rarely it didn't do that, but the vast majority of the times it would reset. On the other hand, my wall dynamos never reset in the storm shield defense. Every time I used them, if they didn't get used up and they only had 4 or 5 charges left, when I logged out and came back in, they would still have only 4 or 5 charges left, which means if I want to use them again in that area, I really need to bash out the wall, destroy the wall dynamo, and replace a new one. And that was just weird. But there's a few traps like this. I just want to go through this. It really can save you an ungodly amount of materials for traps in your storm shield defenses. Wall launcher was another one that did not reset. And actually the wall launcher, several times I would run by and it would say 0 and it's still up on the wall, which meant I had to bash down the wall and reset it. This is something hopefully Epic will be looking at and changing in the future. Like I said, I wasn't using ceiling electric fields enough to ever see if they did or did not reset. Can't comment on that one. On the retractable floor spikes, that one did not reset. Same thing with the floor launchers didn't. The gas traps didn't. But the wooden floor spikes, they would reset back to their original thing, 270. And like some of my floor spikes I put down in Storm Shield Defense number 1, and they were still there at Storm Shield Defense number 10. They lasted all the way through because they would just reset every time every time I completed it. And even if I didn't complete it, if I failed the mission, it would still reset. Freeze traps didn't reset. These things would get used up quickly, and even if they survived, I'd have to do them over. Same thing with the ceiling zappers and the tire traps. Now the ceiling zappers, I wasn't 100% sure on. For me, it was really difficult, and you'll find this in the Storm Shield defense. It's actually even in normal missions. Trying to get a reading on the traps to see what their durability is kind of hit and miss. On the floor traps and the wall traps, it's kind of a 50-50. But the ceiling traps, I had a horrible time trying to pan over them just right to tell me the durability. So I'm not 100% sure on the ceiling zappers. And once again, I wasn't using wall lights or wall spikes, so I can't tell you offhand if they did or did not reset. Healing pads did not reset. But that can save you a ton of materials. Just once again, the wall darts and the wooden floor spikes seem to reset on the Storm Shield defenses the vast majority of the time. So, good thing to remember. One last thing I want to go over. People were asking me about the durability, which is a good thing to be asking, mainly if you build like I do, where you're using the wall launchers, which means you're going to have mobs coming over the same trap again and again as you launch them back and they come back in and use them up again and again. And durability is a huge impact, and durability can be increased basically two ways. The first way is squad bonuses, and actually the squad bonuses lie here. Like this says my trap durability is 32%. I did not want that. Let's get back where I want it. Trap durability, if you put 2 survivors in that have the trap durability icon on them, it will increase by 8% your trap durability. That is a great thing. And let's see, let's move down. Do these all have 2? Here, trap durability, I have 24 here because trap durability is a huge thing for me. And resistance, I didn't have a good team leader yet, so I didn't want to level up a bunch of survivors for that would maybe get scrapped if I got a mythic survivor tomorrow or the next day. Of course, I said that like 2 months ago and it still hasn't happened, but I have other places I can put my survivor XP right now. So I basically use this one to load up on my trap durability. But when you go back here, if you add up all the trap durabilities on the other screen, it's a lot more than 32. For some reason, this screen only shows 1 trap durability per category. So I got 8 there for 16, 8 here for 24, and then 8 more here for 32, because it only counts at once. But that is not the way it is in the game. I went through, I got rid of all the trap durability ones out of my survivors. I went and checked my durability on my character inside the game, logged out, loaded up here with plus 24%. Here it said I only went up 8%, went into the game, and sure enough, I had gone up 24%. So unfortunately, don't trust these numbers. If you do multiple bonuses in the same category, it doesn't always show it to you here. So that is one thing. But yeah, that's how you can get your trap durability up, and anybody can do that. And even when running higher level Storm Shield defense number 10, I was taking out level 100 survivors to put in level 8 survivors with trap durability, because I wasn't fighting, I was staying away from everything. So I wasn't worried if my health or resistance went down, or even if my weapon fire went down. I was worried about trap durability. That was the number one thing, and it really made a huge difference. And let's get out of that. The only other way for trap durability I know right now, and it's only if you have this character from the Scavengers event. And that is the Mechanist Harper. And she has an increased trap durability of 25% when you slot her, which is a great thing. What I did not get the chance to check out because I only have one of her is she gets all traps based. Let's see, damage, just finding the right one. All right, her level 15 power, if you're running her as your main hero, is increased trap durability 25%. The same as her bonus. But her bonus doesn't say anything about not being able to use it on her to basically increase your trap durability by 50%. Never got a chance to test that out to see if that is a possibility to do it even more. But I have been noticing that with the events, they seem to repeat them, and hopefully this one will be coming around again. But if they ever have an event where you see this little symbol for tough traps, definitely grab it right away, because at higher level missions you need more durability on your traps if you're going to be somebody who does a lot of trap tunnels. But we have gone through all of the traps, just double checking here. Hit all the wall, ceiling, and floor. Oh no, wait, good thing I double checked. The portal ward. Nobody that I've talked to knows what's going on with this one. It is supposed to be, oh, I thought I'd give the description there, but basically it's supposed to stop husks from spawning in the area that it covers. I've never seen it really make a difference. If you use the portal ward a lot and have more information on it, please let us know. I know when the first game came out, Epic said it was broken and did not work. So I don't know if they have corrected it since then. But as you can see, I just use it as something nice to throw into my collection book. But that is the video. Keep asking me questions. Let me know if you disagree or agree. And I look forward to talking to you all in the future.